What is up, guys? My name is Cocoa Puff X or Medi, and today I have a One Piece TCG video for the channel. If you like videos like this, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, and let's get right into it. Today we are going over OP09 Green Purple Limb, who has the stipulation that your characters enter play as rested. So her activate main is once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn, set up to 1 of your Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested. Then play a cost 5 or lower Odyssey type character from your hand. So Lim is one of those leaders where you almost always have to go first, and I feel like that in and of itself kind of sets you back, because the matchup rates of going second for Lim is way lower than her going first, because when you go first you want to play this one cost Lim, and you almost always mulligan for this Lim. There's almost very few times that I will not mulligan if I don't see this card. So if this character were to be removed from the board by one of your opponent's effects, so that means removed with stuff like Gravity Blade, removal effects that KOs or puts it into life or back into the deck, she has the effect that allows you to basically create an anti-removal for her specifically. Her end turn is that you may set up to 1 of your Odyssey type characters as active, and that also includes herself. So she's basically the bread and butter to unresting characters that can't be unrested by their own effect. Nami's just a 2K, but if you want a player, if you have 2 or more rested characters, up to 1 of your opponent's rested Dawn will not become active during the next refresh phase. You have the chump blocker Lim. If you have 2 or more rested characters, set this character as active on your end turn. You have the other character Limb that allows you to look up to the top 5 of your deck to reveal 1 card with the Odyssey type other than Limb. So that includes Blocker Limb and the 1 cost Limb as well. And then end of your turn, if you have 3 or more arrested characters, set this character as active. We have Sabo. He's one of the characters that allows you to draw cards. Outside of him, we have Enel down here, who also allows you to draw cards and discard 2 from your hand. So basically helps you filter out cards. One of the things about this deck, and just green decks in general, is that green decks get starved out pretty easily because there aren't a lot of draw effects. Draw effects don't really come with the green cards. Since this is partially a purple deck, I guess they have to throw in some draw effects in there as well. Dofi, arguably my favorite card in this deck. I will almost always, off the search of this, pick up a Dofi because it protects me for my late game, and it also allows me to attack with him because his end of turn is that if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, set this character as active. Best curve of the deck would be turn 1 play Lim, turn 2 play Dofi, turn 3 play this Lim, and then, something else over here. Oops, I accidentally took one of the limbs out, but you get what I mean. Play this limb, and then play out 1 of these 2 cards down here. So Ace up here, reason why I don't play Ace too much is that he's a great 2K for the deck, just like Nami. But if ever there's a chance where you can get an attack on a opponent's cost 5 or lower, Ace allows you to rest that card on play. Newgate, if you have 2 or more rested characters, rest up to 1 of your opponent's cost 5 or less, then KO 1 of your opponent's rested cost 3 or less. So I use Newgate a lot of the times to get a searcher off the board that I believe could be a problem if they ever decide to want to attack with it, or a chump blocker that needs to be off the board so I can get some attacks in. And now he lets you draw 3 cards and discard 2 from your hand. Mihawk, he is probably one of those endgame cards. So if you have 2 or more rested, you can set up to 1 of your cost 5 or lower characters as active. So a lot of the times what you would want to do is, let's say you're on your 10 Dawn turn, you want to stack 7 on a Odyssey character, swing for whatever that amount is, and then play out this card, and it allows you to swing again to end the game off. Another end game is Zorro. Zorro is one of those cards where it takes people back a little bit because you play this card and you're basically protecting it with your life, right? You're using the limbs, you're using the Dofis, you're using any 2K or any counter in your hand to keep Zorro alive as long as possible, because he allows you, when attacking once per turn, to set this character as active. So not only do you get to attack and then set it as active by paying just 1 Dawn, his activate main once per turn is that you can pay 2 Dawn and set this character as active again. In essence, he gets to attack 3 times for 9 or as many Dawn as you can put onto him that is sufficient enough to end off the game. Katakuri is just another blocker, but he's purple, so you get to play him in this deck. His effect is at the end of the turn, you can set up 2 Big Mom type characters with a cost 3 or more as active, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So not only on your 8 Dawn turn, let's say, you're able to get 1 rested Dawn, which really doesn't matter going into your 10 Dawn turn, but you get to unrest him at the end of the turn, so you get to use a lot of these effects to bring up or untap your characters, and then your last character that you are untapping will be this card here. So it allows you to get the stipulations of these cards to go off, and then also untapping him. And then lastly, Usohachi. Yeah, another purple card that allows you to rest a cost 5 or less, just in case if you do not have Ace or Newgate on the field, or sorry, in your hand, you get to use Usohachi instead if you have 8 or more Dawn, which more often than not you probably will, especially towards the end game. So everything in this deck is relatively inexpensive. I say that, but relatively inexpensive for a TCG. Outside of maybe these 3 cards, Katakuri, last time I checked, he is somewhere around $3 per card. Not too crazy, but it's really the Zorro and the Usohachi that are going to run you a pretty penny. In October, we have PRB2 coming out, so Zorro and Usohachi are getting reprints, so they should be cheaper by the time of October comes around. But if you don't want to wait, Usohachi can be replaced with Izo, the 2-cost green Izo. He's also a 2K, but instead of resting a cost 5 or less, he rests a cost 4 or less. And then I've experimented a lot with Big Mom, the 9-cost purple Big Mom in this deck instead of the Zoros, because Katakuri allows you to also unrest her. But if you don't want to run the Big Mom either, I also recommend the 9-cost green Shanks that pops a rested character as well. Again, relatively inexpensive, but that is the deck list. Let's get right into the gameplay. All right, we got a koala gameplay right here. We take first. So again, you want to win on the dice roll here, and because I got the 1-cost limb in my hand, I'm not going to mulligan this. We played a 1-cost limb. Its effect gets to unrest itself and pass the turn. Now, I'm not really too familiar with a lot of the packages for these new OP12 cards, so forgive me if I'm just like kind of staring at the screen, just commentating what I'm doing and not much of what they're doing. Right here we play out the Sabo. Sequencing wise, right, I'm gonna say this now, sequencing wise, you want to attack first, attack 5 with the leader, and then play out the Sabo, especially in a matchup against somebody that's like yellow black, where they have different types of removal. So you don't want to, attack into 5 and then they pull a trigger that KOs your character that you just played. waiting a little bit for them to make their next move. All right, the counter with a hack. All right. I think this is, yep, I'm going to end the turn here. Just trying to figure out what I can do from here on out. Yep, end the turn here. Swings 5 at me. I'm going to take this only because I want to use the counter that I have in my hand to protect my bodies. I'm not afraid to take life pretty aggressively the first attack. So we played a limb. We grabbed the Dofi, played a Dofi. Again, sequencing, right? I one of the big things I have to do is get my sequencing correct. Here, we attack 6 that lets us draw a card, and attack 5, get blocked by the hack, and there goes my limb. I feel like in that scenario, I'd rather get the card draw than the limb body. I'm okay with losing the limb body here, but realistically, right, you still want to attack first, see what happens before you continue, right? Kuma, super expensive card, by the way. Play out the Kuma. That lets them gain the life. Obviously, they don't attack because I'm blocking with the Dofi. Play out the Zoro, attack 6 with my Sabo, attack 5 with my leader. They're countering out very aggressively, which is kind of scary as now I'm just gaining a bunch of cards in my hand. They're countering out only 3 cards in hand. Right, they attack at my life. Here, we probably want to counter out. Give them a 1-2. They play out a dragon that allows them to play a card from their trash. You play out the Nico Robin. Nico Robin's on play. Makes me trash 2 cards. I'm going to trash the 1 cost and probably the 2 cost here because I want the... I do want the counter in my hand, and that Dofi can come out probably next turn, help me protect my Zoro a little bit more. He attacks 5, block it with the Dofi. All right. So Zoro's effect allows me to attack basically essentially 9 3 times, with Dawn willing. I'm attacking into the Kuma. I want to get the Kuma off the board. It's gonna gain way too much value if it stays on the board. So if you see a Kuma, it's like Hawkins. It's like Yellow Hawkins. If you see Yellow Hawkins, rested, Kuma rested, attack into it, get it off the board, because once it starts attacking back at you, you're giving it way too much value, even, all the way until whenever the turn it gets removed off the board from anything else, right? Since we're playing green, we don't get that removal effect. So swing 7 right here, right? Didn't have a lot of counter in their hand, so I'm just drawing as much. Play out the Dofi. So this Dofi allows me to protect my Zoro so we can swing 9s the next turn, right? It all kind of worked out at the end. Right, we got the Kuma off the board, and we were able to swing multiple times at life. Now, the scary thing is that I'm not 100% sure what type of removal they have. They swing 5 at my life. I'm contemplating here. So, my thing here is, what do you do, right? Do you block out of this? Do you counter out of this? Or do you take it, right? I have a 1, so I'm going to counter out of it. See what happens. Some may argue that, I could have taken this life right there. But I'm just, again, not too familiar with what Koala runs to be taking life too aggressively here, especially towards the end game. So 9 I will take, right? Don't need to think about it. I don't need to give up value. That's probably their biggest attack that they're going to swing at me. So take the 9. They play out the Kuma. They are able to gain a life. And they play out a blocker, Karasu, to move, to go towards a more defensive stance right here. So now we have 2 blockers on the field. They have 1 life. I'm trying to calculate it just a little bit, trying to figure out how am I going to swing. I'm thinking if, at any point do I need to rest that blocker. So I'm going to test it out, swinging 7 here. Right, this gives 2 cards or the blocker, right? I'm right here. I'm trying to get as many cards out of their hand, or get this life, right? Either that or get one of their blockers. So we're swinging 7. He's thinking, right? He's thinking, trying to figure out what he wants to do, what they want to do. Got to be politically correct. What they want to do. I have no clue who is playing this game. So, swing 7, takes the life. All right, so now I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable to keep swinging 7s. Knowing the fact that Dofi unrests himself at the end of the turn allows me to swing 7 pretty neatly right here. I'm thinking probably swing 7 with the Sabo as well. I just swing 6. I don't know how good of a play that is. Yeah. So swing 6 because we need 5 Dawn for the Zoro play, and then here is probably a good time to rest down. Yep, rest down that blocker right here, and now we can swing 9 with Zoro. Use Zoro's effect, stands up, and they leave against Koala. Lim's looking pretty good. Pretty good against Koala. All right, so we got Lim versus UI Nami. Right here, we're going to Mulligan. Now, as I'm talking about this game, playing out the Lim, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've recorded this part of the video at least 3 times, and it seems like my recording system has been glitching out. So bear with me if I just blaze through this part of the video. So they play out the Nojiko that bounces a card back to hand. I'm going to take the Lim only because the Nami could swing into the Lim on this turn. And I want to keep that Lim for to unrest other cards in the future that I play out. So I play out the Lim again. I play out the and now to fix my hand only to get more bricks. So here I'm just going to toss a Katakuri and a Zoro. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need 3 Katakuris and a Zoro to win the game, the deck's cooked. You're cooked, the deck's cooked, the game's cooked. So tossing those to the trash, bringing back up my Lim with her ability. Right here, we have Nami, thinking about what she wants to play. Spoiler alert, she plays a Nami, right? Allows her to fix her hand a little bit, draw 3 cards, and then place the rest on the top of the deck. And then here, she swings 5. We're at 3 life, and we're going to counter out of this. So we get out of it. We use the ace instead of the Usohachi because you could just play Usohachi for 3 and no matter when, right? Play out the Lim. Here I'm picking up the Newgate. Sabo is a decent option, but the Newgate I could do one of 2 things. I can rest down the Nami and swing into it, or I can just develop a body on the field and pop the Nojiko, which I end up doing. Then I'm kind of thinking, okay, well, if I swing 5, right, she's just going to block out of it. So I'm going to swing 7 to see if they actually give me 2 cards out of hand, the blocker or a life. I'm fine with whatever they do here, swinging 7, because they don't have a Dawn on their leader, so they can't use the leader ability, right? We're thinking here, I'm probably thinking, okay, well, if I swing 7 and they have they take it, right? Might as well swing 5. They're going to block it regardless, right? But might as well swing 5, see what happens. Blocks, right? Smart thing to do here, right? Lim, bring back up Lim, bring up Enel. Doesn't really matter what you bring up with the 1-cost Lim effect. And one of the good things about having like Newgate rested is that when you it works as almost like a pseudo block. So let's assume that Nami wants to now start developing a board to fight against, right? If she swings 7 into my new gate, I'm countering out of it. If swing any less than a 6, any more than, well, I should say any less than a 7, I would have, I would be able to counter out of regardless, right? Using the Usohachi in my hand. They play out another Nami, surprise, right? Now she's kind of blockering up, has a lot of cards in hand, and is swinging at life. I counted her cards before, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't have the counter, but she doesn't get to draw on this turn with the leader effect. So, I whatever cards I can get out of life that is able to be used as the counter, then I probably do it. Right here, I'm contemplating if I play out the Katakuri, but I don't think I do. Right. Here's my thought process is that if I swing 6, right, see if they block or give me the life, hypothetically, right. So swinging 6 wasn't a bad deal. Now that I have a rested character, I can play out the Newgate, rest down their blocker now, and now I'm swinging big numbers at their blocker to get as many cards out of hand or get the blocker off the field. So I'm swinging 7. They're thinking about it. If they have it, they give it, right? If you are swinging 7, right? If you have it, you give it. Now, if they're willing to give a 7, I throw an 8. Now you have to give me 2 cards out of hand or you lose the blocker. They let me take it, and then right here, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a lot of Dawn left. Swing 8. They give me another 2K. This allows me to get more cards out of hand. In a deck where you are drawing, your whole premise is drawing as many cards as possible. You want them to throw out cards in each attack, which is why Lim is so good. You can just throw 6s and they have to at least give you a card if they're not already a 6 life leader. They play out the Sanji, that plays out the Luffy. Here is where I should have countered one, but I was not confident in whether or not they would attack into my new gate, so I needed a card out of life. But, regardless, we throw out 3 cards. Does not feel good throwing out that many cards, but with them playing out the Sanji, they do not have a Dawn on their leader. So I'm able to swing 6. This gets a 2K or a blocker, right? They take a life, get Sanji peel off. Here's where my confidence starts going down on this game. But you'll see at the end, right? Throw another 6, see what they have in their hand, right? Gives up the blocker. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they don't have a lot of counters. Throw another 6 at them. Gets another Sanji peel off. Here's where I'm thinking I'm cooked. So I'm swinging 6. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just swing the rest. And there we go, right? I was just as shocked as you are, right? They have all these cards in hand and just straight bricks. That is crazy for a Nami deck, but Lim does do relatively well, I guess. So on to the next game. And finally, the last game of the video. Here we're playing against Green Zoro, arguably the best deck in the format currently. We take first from him. I don't know what Zoro's curve is. I'm pretty sure it's first because they want to play out the Kuina and the Tashigi. So we play out the Lim, right, on turn 1, right? We take first. Turn 1, we play out the Lim. Turn 2, we're able to use our leader effect and play out the Searcher Lim. And then swing 5. Here, because of Lim's ability, Zoro can't attack into my characters for the most part, right? If they're not rested, unless he plays out a card, which I am happy to give him. In any Zoro matchup, and I don't know if I mentioned it in another video or if I'm going to mention it in another video. I'm currently editing a few videos currently, but against Zoro, if you can control the board as much as possible by protecting your guys and just taking swings to the face in the beginning, you will go relatively far into a Zoro matchup. So, like I said before, on 4 Dawn, they play out the Quina. They're contemplating what they rest down. Here is where I'm thinking, okay, well, if they're going to rest down anything, you would rest down the 1-cost limb, but they choose not to. They choose to rest down my 3-cost limb here, probably thinking, well, that's the biggest thing on the board. Right here, I'm thinking, okay, well, I can counter out of that 2 cards, and now I have a I keep my body, because now he can't use his leader ability to attack into my body, and I'm able to get a card out of life here. The whole premise of how we're playing against Zoro is, again, keeping as many bodies on the field. So right here, I'm swinging 1. Zoro also doesn't run too many counters as far as I know. You know, most green decks usually don't have that many counters. So getting any counter out of hand in general benefits us greatly. If he wants to let this 1,000 go, you know, that's good. So he gives us a 2K, right? That allows us to understand, okay, well, now he has only 6 cards in hand. You know, if he's gonna give me a 2K for it, I'm swinging 5, take this out. Now, you know, unless he's crazy, right? If he's a maniac, he would protect this, but I don't think he's gonna be a maniac here. But like I was saying before, since he gave us a 2K, it gives us more knowledge on what is kind of in, like, what he's running in his deck and how much he's willing to give as counter for his bodies. Right, so right here, we're able to play out the limb. We're able to attack in with the limb leader and get a life. And then we had a Dofi in hand, so everything on my field gets to restand, and we're able to ramp another Dawn. So right here, he's thinking a little bit. My first thought was, okay, well, I now have 2Ks in hand. Again, we're going to try to protect our bodies if it makes sense. I'm thinking, you know, counting his Dawn. Maybe he plays out the 5-cost Tashigi. You know, when it comes to Zoro gameplay, especially, I don't think it's just Zoro. I think it's just green in general. Green versus green is just a slow matchup. Because we're both trying to kind of do the same thing, where it's control the board, pressure life slowly, get something cooking, so by the time it's, you know, we're down into our 10 Dawn turns, we're now playing out giant beasts that are protected by something else. That's essentially, you know, I guess you can arguably say that's the point of the game, but green just kind of does it in a way, and especially in this current meta, green kind of plays into that just a little harder than most decks. So he plays out a Hiyori, does a search for the Tashigi, and then plays out the Kawina, which is good because now we know that he has a brick in hand. Right here, he swings at my my guy, my limb. I'm thinking, okay, well, get 2 cards out of hand here, block out of it, and then we're able to kind of just swing into his board, take control of his board. I'm eating this, right? Just makes sense to eat this attack right here. Even if we could have blocked out, countered out of it, I'm always going to take life just a little more aggressively if that means controlling the board, right? All right, so we are... I'm trying to remember if this is my 8 or 10 Dawn turn. 9 Dawn turn. So I think it's I think right here, I'm on my 9. So I'm contemplating how I do this. I'm like, okay, well, I can probably swing with my limb here. So I'm like, okay, well, swing at the searcher, you know, tap search, right? Anything else on the board we're swinging at. I'm contemplating if not contemplating, but I'm thinking, does he counter out of this? No, right? He doesn't counter out of a 5 into a 1. He's not countering out of it. 5 into 5. probably wants to counter out of that because then it's 6-5. And because Dofi stands himself up, you know, we're always swinging with blockers here. Right, swing 5, and then we play out the Katakuri. Or sorry, swing 6, and then we play out the Katakuri. He gives us another 2K, which is good. It's good to know that he is running I'm assuming he would be running about 2 sets of 2Ks now. We saw Tashigi, and I can't really, I don't know what he kind of threw into the trash. It looks like a vanilla, but you know, vanilla 2K probably a slash type, one of the Land of Wano types. Right now he's on his 8 Dawn turn. Thinking, okay, well, he has multiple plays here, so he can play out the Tashigi, probably rest one of my blockers. If he does rest the Dofi and then attacks into it, I think we just give it to him, right? I think we just give it to him. I don't think throwing out all these cards out of my hand, if he's attacking more, I should emphasize, if he's attacking more than 8, if he attacks more than 8, you kind of just give it to him. I have enough to get out of an 8. One of my things is if I block with my Katakuri here, then he can attack back into it with more. And I'm thinking, okay, well, how much do I want to give up here? Do I want to give up my whole hand to get out of this? If he wants to attack into my life, I'm okay with this. So I block out because he only attacks 8. I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's gonna attack, you know, if he has the event, right? That's another thing. If he had the event, he can just continue attacking me. He attacks into my life. No, he attacks back into my Katakuri here, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's just attacking 8. No? So if he uses an event, I'm thinking to myself, well, unless he's attacking back into my my Doflamingo, I'm fine with giving him my entire hand. If I have 2 blockers on the field, I am a-okay with giving him my entire hand if it protects my board. I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to give 2 for the blocker because at least have a blocker to protect my life. I'm trying to do the math here and what I can do like for lethal because I'm pretty sure if they're not running a ton of 2Ks, I'm pretty sure I can almost guarantee lethal on this turn, and that's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm thinking if I just 8 throughout the board and then play out a blocker, I don't see myself losing here. So swing 8 takes it. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, okay, let's go swing 8. See if he takes this. Right, this is 2Ks. Yep, so 2Ks. So now knowing that he only has 5 in hand, I'm thinking, okay, well, if he wants to win, he would keep these, you know, he would keep these 5. So swing 8. He needs to give me 3 cards. Or give me this life right here. Regardless, at this point in the game, I'm thinking, okay, well, if he gives me the card, you know, if he gives me the life, and he, let's say, hypothetically counters out of this, and I play a blocker, what is he going to do next, right? His next turn, what is he swinging at me with that I'm not able to get out of it? All right, he gives us his entire hand, and I'm like, all right, well, just play out the limb, and then go through all my stuff. Like the 3 limb comes up, the 2 comes up, the Dofi comes up, and then the Katakuri unrest themselves. Now he's looking at 3 blockers, 2 attacks, and 2 life. At this point, you know, the game's over, right? And that's the thing with Lim. Lim plays for the board, and if you're not careful, they build up a board relatively quickly and ramps pretty quickly. This Zoro probably hasn't played against many Lims, and that is probably why he is, in a situation where he's kind of given up his entire hand. He's thinking, probably trying to figure out what he can do here. If he has to restand the vent, I don't think I lose here, but right, he plays out the Tashigi is able to give 3 cards, 3 rested Dawn to his leader. Now he has 5 Dawn. I'm thinking to myself, maybe he plays out, maybe he swings, 9 or something. But like at this point, if you're not, if you have no rush cards, the game's over, right? Swings 7. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, I could probably block out of it. Block out of it, take it. It really doesn't matter. But the game is essentially over. So while this kind of winds down a little bit, I'm going to go through my cadence. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video. This is Lim in OP12. OP13, I have a lot of faith that Lim will be very good, even more than good, pretty decent into the next meta if it's playing like this. Lim's a sleeper deck. It's one of those decks that I built in real life just to kind of mess around with it, see how it plays. And it's been a fun time. Zoro is a hard matchup. Rayleigh's your hard matchup. But other than that, you can pretty much match up against most all decks in the format. But thank you guys. It's Medi, and I will catch you later.